Peace be with you. Dear friends, welcome to Living Flame Podcast website and Facebook group. Gospel reflections for Friday of the 31st week in the ordinary time. Gospel according to Luke chapter 16 verses 1 to 8. Today's gospel passage concentrates on stewardship. So we are all interested with the talents, time, resources, and lots of good things that we have. And our master is going to ask an account of all that is entrusted with us. So that's why Jesus, speaking to his disciples, narrates them a parable. A rich man had a steward who was reported to him for squandering his property. He summoned him and said, "What is this I hear about you? Prepare a full account of your stewardship, because you can no longer be my steward." The steward said to himself, "What shall I do? Now that my master is taking the position of steward away from me, I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I know what I shall do so that when I am removed from the stewardship, they may welcome me into their homes." So he was a very shrewd man. And that's why what does he do? He calls his master's debtors one by one. The first one said, "How much do you owe my master?" He replied, 100 measures of olive oil. He said to him, "Here is your promissory note. Sit down and quickly write one for 50. Then to another he said, "And you, how much do you owe?" He replied, 100 quarts of wheat. He said to him, "Here is your promissory note. Write one for 80. Well, the master commended this dishonest steward for acting prudently. Now, what is the message, dear friends, here for all of us? That in the world, people are very shrewd. In the business world, whether it is investing or buying properties or whatever they do to grow their wealth, they are very shrewd. You cannot negotiate with them in an ordinary way. You require also shrewdness to negotiate with these kinds of people. But then Jesus says, the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. So he is inviting that we who are called to be his disciples, who are supposed to be the children of light, we should be as shrewd as those people in the world. Now, if people in the world are capable of amassing wealth, so we should be able to amass spiritual wealth in our daily lives. So that's the point here. The stewardship is we are entrusted with great many things, and we have to be responsible with what we have, so that we have to multiply the things that God has given us. And one day, God will be asking an account. But then we should not be dishonest, rather honestly working for growing in our spiritual wealth. And that's the point here. Of course, Jesus is not against growing even your material wealth. For that matter, we can always refer to the parable of the talents. One who received 10, he multiplied into another 10, and the master commended him and entrusted him many things. The one who was given 5 talents, he again went and multiplied them and added 5 more. But the one who received 1 talent, he went and buried the talent, and he gave back the talent when the master came, saying that you are a very harsh person. You reap where you do not sow. But then the master said to him, "Well, if you know that I am a harsh person, I am not a generous person, you should have put my money into the bank and I would have received back my money with interest. Why did you bury it in the ground?" And therefore the master commanded him, "Take away that talent and give to the one who has 10 talents. So this particular parable in some way helps us to understand that Jesus is not against growing material wealth or spiritual wealth, but then the children of light must be shrewd. in dealing with their own spiritual affairs. Now, how do we deal with our spiritual affairs, dear friends? If we spend time, such a lot of time, watching television, watching a game, or going out picnicking or to the restaurants or dance bars and spending time here and there with our friends, etc., how much time we are investing in our spiritual growth? So that is the point here. If you are capable of spending such a lot of time in the world, whether it is for business or work, then we need to also ask a question, how much of time we dedicate in loving God and loving our neighbor. So loving God is giving more time in prayer, and loving our neighbor, first of all, our own family members, how much of time we spend with them. So we need to be shrewd in sharing our time in the world as well as with the family and also with God. God bless you.